ॐ तव कथामृतं तप्तजीवनं कविभिरीडितं कल्मषापहं श्रवणमङ्गलं श्रीमदादतं भुवि गृह्णन्ति ये भूरिदा जनाः। Sri Sri Ramakrishna Kathamrita, the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, Tritiya Pariched, Dvitiya Darshan. The second meeting of M, the record of the Gospel, Mahendranath Gupta, with Sri Ramakrishna. দ্বিতীয় দর্শন সকালবেলা ৮টার সময়। ঠাকুর তখন কামাতে যাচ্ছেন, এখনও একটু শীত আছে, তাই তাহার গায়ে মোলস্কিনের র্যাপারের কিনারা শালু দিয়ে মোড়া। মাস্টারকে দেখিয়া বললেন, তুমি এসেছো, আচ্ছা এখানে বসো। So the second meeting of M with Ramakrishna happened in the morning at 8 o'clock. And the barber had come to shave Sri Ramakrishna. I think his skin was so sensitive that he could not bear the touch of a razor. It was just a kind of clipping, perhaps. It is still somewhat chillish. So he was covering his body with a moleskiner wrapper. That wrapper is still there at Belur Math on special occasions, particularly on public celebration day following Sunday of Sri Ramakrishna's Tithi Puja. These things are brought out, but this time, unfortunately, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, this could not be done. And Kinara Shalu Diya Moda, the border has been slightly touched. And seeing the M coming, he said, "Oh, you have come. Well, sit down." এই কথা দক্ষিণ পূর্ব বারান্দায় হইতেছিল, নাপিত উপস্থিত। So it was there on the southeastern veranda of Ramakrishna's room, and the barber had come. সেই বারান্দায় ঠাকুর কামাইতে বসিলেন ও মাঝে মাঝে মাছের সঙ্গে কথা কইতে লাগিলেন। গায়ে ঐরূপ র্যাপার, পায়ে চটি জুতো, সহাস্যবদন। কথা কইবার সময় কেবল একটু তোতলা। So is a graphic description. So he sat there and the barber was shaving him, and he is conversing with the M, and he is covering himself with the wrapper, moleskine wrapper, and wearing chappals and full of smiles, Sahasrabodham. This is one thing you will notice in the Kathamrita. Those of you who have read the Kathamrita, I think most of you have. Sahasrabodham, Sokaler Harsho. The common thing in Kathamrita is full of joy, wit and humor. All the time he is smiling. And everybody is filled with joy in his presence. Once he asked M, what do you think of me? What kind of person I am? How many anas? That means how much is my realization? Just for fun and to find out how much M has understood him. M says, I do not know the extent of your ana and how much and so on. কিন্তু আপনি মজার লোক, আপনার কাছে এসে খুব মজা আছে। So you're so full of joy and wit and humor. In your presence there's so much of joy. This is something which everybody has noticed, not only in Ramakrishna, Swamiji, his direct disciples. Even Swami Brahmananda used to be so serious, but in his presence so much of subtle joy was filling the hearts of everybody. When Mother was in Dakshineshwar, Mother used to say, Holy Mother Sharada Devi, দুঃখ কি বাবা জীবনে আর জানতুম না তখন, হৃদয়ে যেন সবসময় আনন্দের পূর্ণ কলস বিদ্যমান. I did not know at that time what was sorrow, as if the heart was filled with a joy, as if a picture of joy, full of joy, filled with ananda, was constantly planted in my heart. Who suffered more than the Holy Mother, apparently, outwardly? But she says, we did not know what was sorrow. That was the spiritual elevation it gives, and that was the sustainable quality of a spiritual joy. In the case of worldly joy, joy comes and goes in as much as there is the touch of the senses or no. When there's a beautiful piece of sweet, rasagulla or sandesh, put in your mouth, you feel some joy. Oh, what a beautiful sweet. The moment it dissolves, the contact is lost and you feel no joy at all. So this is called samsparshaja bhoga. The bhoga or joy or enjoyment arising out of samsparsha, born of samsparsha or touch. ये हि संस्पर्शजा भोगा दुःखयोनय एव ते आद्यन्तवन्तः कौन्तेय न तेषु रमते बुधः. ये हि संस्पर्शजा भोगा, these kinds of enjoyments was a samsparshaja, born of samsparsha or touch, are ultimately sources of great sorrow. Why? Because they have a beginning and end, and a really wise man does not delight in them. The Bhagavan speaks about two kinds of joy. One is joy born of touch of the senses. And then touch is also of two varieties. One is Vishaya Samsparsha, Indriya Samsparsha. The other is Brahma Samsparsha. Just like he said, Ehi Samsparshaja Bhoga Dukkayona Evate, the Bhagavan also talks about Brahma Samsparsham Atyantam Sukhamashnute. Through Brahma Samsparsha, the touch of Brahman, as if Brahman is coming and touching you, Atyantam Sukham, a great joy. A joy which has no opposite. Supreme joy. Unending joy. Brahma Samsparsham Atyantam Sukhamashnute. So one is Vishaya Samsparsha, other is Brahma Samsparsha. Sukha Dukha Samanohala Ananda Sagar Thale Mojlo Amar Manu Pramara. Kamalakanta song, Ramakrishna is very fond of this song. Oh mind, the bee of my mind, come on, go and sip the nectar at the feet of the Mother Kali, Mother Shyama. And the little joy that you get of sipping the honey out of Vishaya Madhu, the sense pleasure, will pale into insignificant. Vishaya Madhu tuchha holo kamadi kushum sakale majlo amar manu pramara. So these are great sentiments. Once you taste the joy of the Supreme, all the other small pleasures simply pale and vanish into insignificance. This is a great joy which is mentioned there. So this joy is unending joy. The joy of Brahman, the joy of Atman. So three kinds of joy are mentioned. Vishaya Sukha, Vishayananda, And bhajanananda, the joy comes from sadhana, bhajana, singing the glory of God through meditation on God, study of scriptures. And the last and the most abundant, indestructible joy is Atmananda, Brahmananda, the joy of Brahman. So Sri Ramakrishna always used to float in that joy. He always lived in the level of Anandamaya, and then he was Anandamaya Purusha. Man who was full of joy, because the supreme joy of Brahman was constantly welling up from within and was so contagious. Sahasravadan, always smiling. Katha koibar shomoy keval ekটু totla. Sri Ramakrishna had some stammering of speech. So how many people have moved audiences because of oratory? Here is a man who was stammering, most unimpressive in his figure, but the current of spirituality and the dynamo of spiritual power which he was, when it bursts upon society, the entire society was shaken to its very foundations. He awakened, as Swami Vivekananda once said, Swami Shivananda also said, the Kula Kundalini of the entire humanity. The basic Kundalini Shakti dormant in everyone, and the entire humanity's consciousness he roused, so that the individual Kundalinis of various beings can be aroused very easily. Ramakrishna Master Repoti, Hanga, তোমার বাড়ি কোথায়? মাস্টার, আজ্ঞা কলকাতায়। এখানে কোথায় এসেছো? মাস্টার, এখানে বরাহনগরে বড় দিদির বাড়ি আসিয়াছি, ঈশান কবিরাজের বাড়ি। ওহ, ঈশানের বাড়ি? He says, where have we come here? Where do you live? I live in Calcutta. What brings you here? He says, in Baranagar, I have come to the house of my elder sister. This is the house of Ishan Kaviraj. Sri Ramakrishna knew Ishan earlier. So he's Ishan. Hanga, Keshav কেমন আছে? বড় অসুখ হয়েছিল. He's inquiring about Keshav Chandra Sen from Master because he lives in Calcutta. I heard he was terribly ill. How is he now? Master, আমিও শুনেছিলাম বটে, এখানে এখন বোধ হয় ভালো আছেন. I also heard about his illness. And now I think he is well. Sri Ramakrishna, আমি আবার কেশবের জন্য মার কাছে ডাব চিনি মেনেছিলাম. শেষ রাত্রে ঘুম ভেঙে যেত আর মার কাছে কাঁদতুম, বলতুম, মা, কেশবের অসুখ ভালো করে দাও. কেশব না থাকলে আমি কলকাতায় গেলে কার সঙ্গে কথা কব, তাই ডাব চিনি মেনেছিলাম. So he says, I promised mother that I will offer dab, that is tender coconut, in which sugar is put. This is a very common thing in Bengal. They are very fond of what they call the dab, tender coconut. In many countries, many states, they don't allow coconuts to be plucked before it ripens. In Bengal, it's very, very common and is supposed to be very good for the stomach. Since it might create some acidity, they put some sugar into it. Tender coconut with sugar is a very common thing which is offered also to God. And to Kali and the various deities, this dab chini, tender coconut with sugar, is a very common offering. So Sri Ramakrishna says, I promised to offer this to mother. It's called Manat Kora. It's a very common practice in India. And Sri Ramakrishna used to follow most of the common practices of people who are not so enlightened. he used to follow all this common practice, unenlightened people, although he himself is enlightened, because none of the practices which people perform with some faith can be discredited. Every one of them has a meaning. During the corona pandemic last year, it's even now continuing, some illiterate, uneducated, simple, innocent village folk, ladies particularly, they were sitting near Ma Shitala's temple. That is, the Ma Shitala is considered to be the Mahamari, this corona plague, etc. And praying intensely, singing, "Oh Mother, please save us," and so on. And I saw in the newspaper some of the so-called intellectuals. India is full of such so-called intellectuals, ridiculing and then saying that's all superstition, scientific temper, and so on. So I was thinking, with all your scientific temper, where are you? So full of jealousies and quarrels and acrimonies and Himalayan egos. No peace within, in spite of all the achievements in science. But here are a bunch of simple, innocent people with deep faith in God, chanting, clapping their hands and singing and praying with tears for the welfare of the whole humanity. And you, so-called intellectuals, decry them? Let everybody has his faith and go. Why do you ridicule? Ramakrishna will mention this very soon to M. Because he was the Kolkata Bhadralok, the gentleman, intellectual of Calcutta. And such snubbings Ramakrishna will give him. All of us need it. Because what is there in intellect? Intellect will take you to some extent and then drop you. And man is so proud of his intellect. Man, proud man, dressed in a brief little authority, most ignorant of what he is most sure of, his glassy essence, like an angry ape, makes such fantastic gestures before the high heavens that makes the angels weep. Shakespeare's lines and measure for measure. Most ignorant of what he is most sure of, his glassy essence, proud man, dressed in a brief little authority. You write a few papers, publish them in some magazine and get some awards, and you think you are the great intellectual, scientific-minded, rational. What is the use of a rationality? You have no peace and you can't give peace or joy to others, constantly trying to outwit others, acrimony, quarrel, egoism, and you can't sleep in peace because somebody else is outwitting you. What kind of science is that? Have simplicity, transparency, openness, love, harmony. Ramakrishna will teach this to him very soon. So, like the innocent folk, village folk, he said, I promised Mother, because if Keshav Sundar Sen passes away, with whom shall I talk when I go to Calcutta? And early in the morning, I used to wake up and cry to Mother, Mother, please make Keshav well, or else when I go to Calcutta, with whom shall I talk? With so much of love he had for the leaders of the Brahmo Samaj, who contributed most of the famous disciples, including Vivekananda and Brahmananda and Ramakrishnananda and Sharadananda, to Ramakrishna's fold. Haga কুক সাহেব নাকি একজন আছে, এসেছে, সে নাকি লেকচার দিচ্ছে। আমাকে কেশব জাহাজে তুলে নিয়ে গিয়েছিল, কুক সাহেবও ছিল। Well, there is one Mr. Cook Sahib. Sahib means a British gentleman. It seems one Mr. Cook has come, and he gives a lot of lectures. When I was traveling with Keshav Chandra Sen in the steamer, he was also there. মাস্টার আজ্ঞা এইরকম শুনেছিলাম বটে, কিন্তু আমি তার লেকচার শুনি নাই, আমি তার বিষয়ে বিশেষ জানি না। Yes sir, Agya means it's a polite form of address to seniors, saying with great humility, you say, yes sir, respected sir. I also heard something like that, but I have not heard his lecture, and I do not know much about him, nothing very special or specific. Sri Ramakrishna, প্রতাপের ভাই এসেছিল, এখানে কজন ছিল, কাজকর্ম নাই বলে আমি এখানে থাকব। শুনলাম মাগ ছেলে সব শ্বশুর বাড়িতে রেখেছে, অনেকগুলো ছেলে পেলে। আমি বকলুম, দেখো দেখি ছেলে পেলে হয়েছে, তাদের কি আবার ও পাড়ার লোক এসে খাওয়াবে দাওয়াবে মানুষ করবে, লজ্জা করে না যে? মাগ ছেলেদের আর একজন খাওয়াচ্ছে, আর তাদের শ্বশুর বাড়ি ফেলে রেখেছে। অনেক বকলুম আর কাজকর্ম খুঁজে নিতে বললুম, তবে এখান থেকে যেতে চাই। See how specific Ramakrishna is about the duties of a householder grihastha. So when there's a grihastha who is married, has children, it is his duty to take care of his children, wife and so on. He cannot behave like a sannyasin, giving up everything and calling upon God. His duty to his wife and children in the spirit of worship of God himself will elevate him. So Swami Vivekananda has a beautiful story in his Karma Yoga. Each is great in his own place. He says, the life of a householder, grihastha, and the life of a sannyasin, each is great in its own place, but the duties of one are not the same as the duties of the other. Pratapir Bhai, the brother of Pratap, had come here. He stayed here for a few days. He doesn't do any job. Says, I will stay here. After hearing this, I scolded him severely. I heard that he has kept his wife and children with the father-in-law's house. He has plenty of children to boot. And I scolded him. Your children are taken care of by your father-in-law. You are responsible for taking care of your children, and you keep them somewhere with somebody else from the neighborhood will they look after them? I scolded him severely and asked him to look for a job. Only then he left from here. How meticulous Ramakrishna was about the duty of a householder. Ramakrishna Master Pati, তোমার কি বিবাহ হয়েছে? Are you married? Master, Agya ha. Ramakrishna শিহরিয়া, ওরে রামলাল, যা বিয়ে করে ফেলেছে। Ramlal is Bhratush Putra, Kali Badir Pujari. He is the Pujak, worshipper in the Kali temple, and his Bhratush Putra is a brother's son. Oh Ramlal, he is already married. Master ঘোরতর অপরাধের ন্যায় অবাক হইয়া অবনত মস্তকে চুপ করিয়া বসিয়া আছেন। ভাবিতে লাগলেন, বিয়ে করা কি এত দোষ? Householders read the Kathamrita for the first time also feel like that. Master was sitting there with his head hung in uneasiness and shame, and thought to himself, is such a wrong thing to marry? ঠাকুর আবার জিজ্ঞাসা করলেন, তোমার কি ছেলে হয়েছে? Then again he asking, do you have children? Master book deep করিতেছে, ভয়ে ভয়ে বলিলেন, আছে, ছেলে হয়েছে। ঠাকুর আবার আক্ষেপ করিয়া বলিতেছেন, যা, ছেলে হয়ে গেছে। তিরস্কৃত হইয়া তিনি স্তব্ধ হইয়া রইলেন। Then Sri Ramakrishna asked him, do you have any children? When he heard this question, Master Mashiach's heartbeat could be seen. His heart was beating fast and he was profusely sweating and nervous, like Arjuna in the battlefield. And with great trepidity and fear, he said, yes, sir, I have some children. Sri Ramakrishna again said, he has children also. So having been thus rebuked, as it were, M was just keeping quiet. তাহার অহংকার চূর্ণ হইতে লাগিল। কিয়ৎক্ষণ পরে ঠাকুর শ্রীরামকৃষ্ণ আবার কৃপা দৃষ্টি করিয়া স্নেহে বলিতে লাগিলেন। His ego was crushed, slowly getting crushed. চূর্ণ হইতে লাগিল, slowly getting crushed. After the snubbing, after some time, Sri Ramakrishna looked at him with great compassion, with great grace, and in a very affectionate tone he said, you see, you have some very good characteristics. By seeing your face, your eyes, and your forehead, I can easily spot them out. দেখো, তোমার লক্ষণ ভালো ছিল। আমি কপাল, চোখ এসব দেখলে বুঝতে পারি। আচ্ছা, তোমার পরিবার কেমন? বিদ্যাশক্তি না অবিদ্যাশক্তি? Well, what kind of wife, better half do you have? Is she Vidyashakti or Avidyashakti? Sri Ramakrishna often used these two terms, which is perhaps his new addition to the spiritual literature of the world. We know that Vidya purifies, liberates, whereas Avidya binds. And he used to classify women into two groups, Vidya Shakti and Avidya Shakti. And he used to say that wife who helps the husband to move along the path of spirituality is Vidya Shakti, and that wife which helps the husband not to move in the path of spirituality but hinders him at every step, constantly demanding carnal joy and worldly pleasures and so on, is Avidya Shakti. Master did not know the distinction at that time. Master, Agya bhalo, kintu Ogyan. Now will come the blow. Well, sir, she is good in a way, but ignorant. Sri Ramakrishna virakta hoya, ar tumi gyani. These three words coming from the mouth of the Avatara Varishtha, Sri Ramakrishna, completely crushed M's ego. It's all meant for us. We are the human beings, the jivas, for whose sake Master Mahashaya was made to write this immortal book, the Ramakrishna Kathamrita, by the divine will of Sri Ramakrishna and the Divine Mother. We are M at the moment, think of that. And then we try to show our knowledge. We always think others are fools, ignorant. I am a Pandit, I am a scholar, I know Sanskrit, I know Gita, I know English, I know the scriptures, I know puja, and these fellows are all ignorant. The common kind of egoism which ordinary people like us have. And even sannyasis. Mother said once, Baba, Shada kapat parai bhalo, showing her own cloth. Geruva porle ahankar hoy. See, what a terrible statement. We should be aware of all this. Holy Mother Sharada Devi, the divine spouse of Sri Ramakrishna, said, it's better to wear only the white cloth. If you wear the saffron color cloth, the Geruva cloth, you become egoistic. So there's a common kind of egoism which knowledge brings, education brings, degree brings. Ramakrishna used to make fun of the Upadhi. The moment you have BA, MA, in those days it was very famous. Even BA was considered now very great. BA, BSc, BCom, MA, MSc, MBA. And those who are IIT, BTechs and MBA from Ahmedabad and Lucknow and simply they can't be contained. I've seen many of our friends. Of course there are exceptions, they're very, very humble people. But usually the mind is getting puffed up by these degrees. I am this, I am that. And somebody gives you a degree and you think something great has happened. Nothing. What is the use of all these degrees and knowledge? Swamiji once got so angry with these degrees and diplomas and people who do not do anything for the poor. Simply writing papers, attending conferences and managing books, book writing and claiming that they are great people. Authors, look, you can't imagine the kind of ego which the authors possess. I wrote a book, I wrote a paper. How many millions of papers are being published every day? What is the you? Who reads all this? Except the immortal text like the Ramayana, Mahabharata, Gita, Upanishads, Shankara's Bhashya, Ramakrishna Kathamrita, the present day, unless there is a spiritual essence, an immortal, undecaying, eternal essence behind these writings, they just have no value. Let us not be puffed up. Knowledge is dangerous. And little knowledge is a dangerous thing, as the famous poet Alexander Pope once wrote. A little knowledge is a dangerous thing. Man, proud man, dressed in a brief little authority, as Shakespeare said, makes such fantastic gestures by the high heavens like an angry ape that makes the angels weep. The angels and the Devatas said, oh, proud man, you think you are so clever. Your cleverness does not work. The tiniest of the tiniest of the tiny virus called the corona virus, COVID-19, which is actually lifeless, but springs to life in the contact with something alive, completely devastated the world and crushed the egos of all our biologists and scientists and Nobel laureates. Everybody is shaking in fear. Now the vaccine which they've invented, scientists now are beginning to feel by the time the vaccines become effective, the corona has now mutated and multiplied and new strains are developing. Where are you? The tiniest of the tiniest of the tiny can simply shake the whole of humanity to its foundation and crush the ego of man to smithereens. That's what you are. And proud man. What is the use of our knowledge? Ar tumi jnani. As Swami Vivekananda said in Madras, where the Centenary Hall, where convocation is usually held, is overlooking the sea. Then Swami Vivekananda once, with great poignancy and sorrow, said, is there not water enough in the sea to drown you, your diplomas and gowns and all that? So long as millions live in hunger and ignorance, I hold every man a traitor who, having been educated at the expense of the poor masses, pays not the least heed to them. This is the language which he is using. So Sri Ramakrishna snubs him, Ar tumi jnani. Well, she is good in a way, but ignorant. Sri Ramakrishna snubs him, and you are a man of knowledge. And look at M's humility. Unless he is a person of a very, very high spiritual attainment, of course he is a Parshada of Sri Ramakrishna, the companion, how he takes these words with great humility, doesn't argue anymore, and tries to understand the significance of these words. If anybody had told us, an unknown man, our ego will immediately come up. Huh? You have told me? You have insulted me. Apaman. In the presence of everybody, you are an unknown person. You can't speak properly. You are stammering all the time. And you sit in the corner of the Kali temple doing nothing. And you dare to say this to me? I will never come here. Or they will shout. And here is a humble man, the apostle, the evangelist of Sri Ramakrishna, Ramakrishna's gospel, a Boswell. Now he says, look at M's self-reflection. This is something which I had to pick up from the Kathamrita. Whenever Sri Ramakrishna says something, he reflects upon it, tries to assimilate its meaning, and transform himself. Tini ज्ञान कहा के बोले अज्ञान कहा के बोले एखोन जाने ना. See how wonderfully he analyzes. That's the scientific mind. Sri Ramakrishna asked him, is your wife Avidya Shakti or Vidya Shakti? M replies, she is in a way good, but ignorant. Sri Ramakrishna lashes at him, snubs him, and you are a man of knowledge? M says, till then he did not know what is knowledge and what is ignorance. ज्ञान काके बोले अज्ञान काहे के बोले एखोनो तिनी जाने ना. As that he does not know what is knowledge and what is ignorance. এখনো পর্যন্ত জানিতেন যে লেখাপড়া শিখিলে ও বই পড়িতে পারিলে জ্ঞান হয়. Till then he had an idea that if he studies lots of books and obtains degrees and diplomas and doctorates and so on, then he will become a man of knowledge. এই ভ্রম পরে দূর হইয়াছিল. This delusion about knowledge and ignorance was removed by Sri Ramakrishna's grace later on. তখন শুনিলেন যে ईश्वरকে জানার নাম জ্ঞান, ईश्वरকে না জানার নামই অজ্ঞান. This sentence has to be written in letters of gold and memorized and assimilated and contemplated upon and meditated upon. What is it? ईश्वर के जानार नाम ज्ञान. Knowledge of God alone is called knowledge, and not having knowledge of called God is ignorance. You go back to Narada Sanat Kumara Samvada, Chandogya Upanishad. Narada was a very great scholar. How many things he had mastered. Sanat Kumara was a great sage, rishi, man of wisdom. Narada goes to him and says, "Oh sir, you are such a great sage. Please save me from the terrible clutches of sorrow. Shochami." That's the language in the Upanishad. I am so full of shoka, sorrow, like Arjuna, for example. I have read so much, I have studied so much. So many degrees I have got. I have got at least 20 PhDs and 4 Nobel Prizes. But my heart is so full of sorrow. with great compassion, Sanat Kumara the Rishi asks Narada, "My child, you tell me what you have studied, and I will teach you further." Look at the list. Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sama Veda, Atharva Veda, these 4 Vedas. Rig, Sama, Yajur and Atharva. I have thoroughly mastered the 4 Vedas. Then, Siksha, Kalpa, Vyakaranam, Niruttam, Chanda, Jyotish. These 6 Vedangas I have mastered completely and thoroughly. Then, so many Vidyas, Sarpa Vidya, Nakshatra Vidya, Rashi Vidya, Dhana Vidya, several dozens of Vidyas I have completely mastered. Then, so much of sorrow is in my heart. And he himself says, I know that Atma Jnana alone will take you beyond sorrow. Tarati Shokam Atmavit. Remember this one sentence. This one sentence comprising just 3 words. Tarati Shokam Atmavit. This contains the very essence of Indian spiritual heritage, legacy and culture. It is the bedrock upon which the whole edifice of the Bharatiya Darshana, Bharatiya Adhyatma Vidya and Bharatiya Jnana Parampara spiritual tradition is standing. Tarati Shokam Atmavit. Atmavit, a person who has realized the Atman, he alone crosses over sorrow. Kathopanishad. Tamatmastam yenu pashyanti dhiraha tesham sukham shashvatam netaresham. Only a person who has realized the Atman within as his innermost soul, such Atmajnani alone will have sukham, shashvatam, eternal, undying, undecaying joy and happiness. Naitaresham, none else and none else will have it. Nityo nityanam chetanas chetananam eko bahunam yo vidadhati kaman tamatmastham yenu pashyanti dhiraha tesham shanti shashvati netaresham. One who finds the eternal among the non-eternals and the only real conscious entity among all the others will appear to be conscious, and being one satisfies the desires of many. That supreme Atman, if one realizes within him or her as the innermost essence, he alone will have Shanti, peace. Shashvati, eternal peace. Peace that passes understanding. Na itaresham, none else and none else. This is a great saying. So much of sorrow Narada approaches. Then Sanat Kumara at the end he says, Shokasya param tarayatu. Please take me beyond sorrow. I am immersed in an ocean of sorrow. Like Arjuna, Bhagavan Bhashyakara Shankara, the great commentator says, why is it that Bhagavan Sri Krishna taught Atmajnana to Arjuna who was so depressed? In the modern world, we have so many motivational speakers, motivational gurus. YouTube is full of them. They will have a hand mic or a collar mic and dance on the stage to one place to another. They rush, they shout and scream and all gestures and gimmicks, and they are supposed to be motivating people. That's one way of doing it, motivators. That's what Krishna should have done. Oh Arjuna, You are depressed? Come on, I'll motivate you. Motivational speaker. Full of them, and every motivational talk is tagged on to hundreds of dollars. Not so easy. It's very expensive to be motivated. Here is Bhagavan Sri Krishna, no cost involved, so simple. Teaching Arjuna the Atma Jnana, the very second chapter. Bhagavan Bhashyakara Shankara says, why is it that Arjuna is being taught the Atma Jnana as an antidote to depression? Depression should be removed by psychiatric, psychological treatment and not spiritual treatment. This is India. Indian wisdom says, except spiritual doses and spiritual awakening, sorrow can never go, depression can never go. Shoka moha mahadadhi, Shankara's language. He was drowning in the huge ocean of shoka moha, sorrow and delusion. And Sri Krishna wanted to rescue him from that. And without Atma Jnana, the knowledge of the self, nobody can be rescued from the bondage of samsara and rescued, redeemed from the ocean of sorrow and delusion. Knowing this full well, Bhagavan gives him the highest truth. Ashochanan vashochastvam pragyavadascha bhashase gataso nagatasonscha nanushochanti pandita. The very first words of Bhagavan, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. With this the Gita teaching begins. O Arjuna, you are grieving over people about whom you should not grieve. And you talk as if you are a wise man, a great scholarly person. A real Pandita will not worry about who lives or who dies. Very, very dangerous statement. Is he insensitive? No. He says there is no death for the Atman. It is only the body which comes and goes. The mind and the body and the senses, they come and go. That which is eternal, that which is beyond the mind and the body and the senses and time, space and causation, that undying, undecaying, infinite, luminous self can't die. A person who has known it is called a Pandita. Shankara says in the Bhashya, Panda Atma Vishaya Buddhihi Esham Te Panditaha. Panda is the knowledge of the self, and a person possessing Panda is called a Pandita. It's a wonderful statement. Who lives and who dies, the Panditas are just unconcerned. That means, no, there is no death for the Atman, only the body comes and goes. The highest truth, Atman was never born, Atman was never dies. Na jayate mriyate va kutaschan nayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuya ajo nitya shashvadoyam purano na hanyate hanyamane sharire. These are great truths taught in the Gita. Why is it that the Bhagavan Sri Krishna is teaching the highest spiritual truth to a person who is psychologically depressed and devastated? Because only Atma Vidya can give you eternal peace and eternal happiness. So M did not know what was knowledge and what was ignorance. He thought reading a lot of books gives one knowledge, and not reading books makes one remain ignorant. Later on he came to know that knowledge of God alone is knowledge, real knowledge, and not having knowledge of God or the Atman or Brahman is ignorance. ईश्वर के जानार नाम ज्ञान, ईश्वर के ना जानार नामी अज्ञान। ठाकुर बोलिलेन तुमी की ज्ञानी, मास्टर अहंकार आबार विशेष आघात लागिलो. First time when he asked about his marriage, he was caught in samsara. He made him understand this. See, nothing wrong in marrying or being in samsara, but be aware that that is not the end of human existence. You have to go beyond this worldly existence, not by rejecting wife and children, but by realizing the impermanence and the ephemerality, the evanescence of all this. They are just for 2 days, they come and go. And ultimately, the supreme reality is the Atman, Brahman or God. Second time, when he says, and you are a man of knowledge, to me Jnani, again his egoism had a big blow. Then the third blow is coming. Sri Ramakrishna is asking, do you believe in God with form or God without form? M was completely perplexed. Because if God has a form, he will not have a... Has a form, he cannot be formless. And if God is formless, he cannot have a form. How is it Sri Ramakrishna says that do you believe in God with form or without form? Either he has a form or he does not have a form. That's it. This is the idea of an exclusive mind. Now there's so much of talk about inclusivism. Have an inclusive mind. Inclusion. That means nothing in the world can be rejected as false. Everything has a value at what it is. The ultimate truth is something which is inexplicable, indescribable, and unspeakable, unthinkable. And the moment you can think about it, speak about it, it becomes relative because speech and thought are in the relative plane. Therefore, the exclusivism which normally we talk about in the relative world has to be completely abandoned. The rise of quantum mechanics, wave mechanics came from a simple discovery by de Broglie, a French scientist, who for the first time spoke of wave-particle dualism. You can't say that something is a particle, electron for example, and you can't say that electron is not a particle. Light, for example, is a wave. At the same time, it can be considered as quanta. Then de Broglie argued, if light can have particle characteristics as quanta or photons, why not particles have wave characteristics? Because nature must be symmetric. This comes from a very interesting philosophical idea that there's a huge symmetry in nature. Because symmetry is related to beauty, and beauty is a characteristic of the supreme reality. Satyam, Sundaram, Shivam, Shantam. This has been spoken about in the scripture. Satyam, it is truth. Sundaram, it is beauty. Shivam, it is goodness. Shantam, it is tranquility. The Greek philosophers, they spoke about truth, beauty and goodness, corresponding to which we have three branches of knowledge, disciplines of knowledge and study, science, arts and social service. Science explores the truth, arts and humanities explore the beauty aspect, and social service belongs to the realm of goodness. Satyam, Sundaram, Shantam. Since nature is Sundaram and beauty is related to symmetry, there should be wave-particle duality. You can't talk about a wave exclusive of a particle, and vice versa. A particle cannot be thought about exclusive of the wave. That was a revolution in the concept of matter and wave and field. That's a huge story from which sprang wave mechanics and quantum field theory, and now we have so many applications of these in the practical world. A beam of electrons also behaves like waves. So the microscope in which light is used to magnify objects is replaced now by electron microscope, in which a beam of electrons behaving like waves can magnify objects several thousandfold. That's a practical application. So what exactly is the nature of a particle, nature of a wave, we do not know. Nature of anything we do not know. And of course, the nature of Brahman or Atman or God is unknown and unknowable. So this small sentence in the Kathamrita, whether he is God is with form or without form, the answer which Ramakrishna gives has such deep scientific, philosophical, metaphysical and spiritual meaning, which we will slowly discuss. Om Niranjanam Nityamanantarupam Bhaktanukampadhrita Vigraham Vai Ishavataram Parameshamidyam Tam Ramakrishnam Shirasa Namamaha. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.